A solid win for Arsenal tonight. Willian getting his first goal. West Brom Match have been relegated after this defeat. But is the Kroneke out movement dying already? Is it falling apart already? The protests have dwindled less and less each time. The noise surrounding it seems to have calmed down. I want to talk about that tonight with Arsenal fans on the football terrace. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Here we go. Welcome back, one and all. 3-1 to Arsenal, and a tweet that I must have seen from about 50 to 60 Gooners throughout the game is, why couldn't we do this on Thursday? Excellent performance, really, overall. West Brom gave it their all, and they opened up and they exposed themselves, which they were always going to do, trying in vain in the end to save themselves from relegation. First time Big Sam has been relegated from the Premier League. But Arsenal were very good tonight. Especially Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Pepe. They played with vigor. They played with confidence. They played with energy. They played with, you could see there was no pressure. There was this sense of, it reminded me of the Arsenal in the latter years under Wenger. Crumbled under pressure, but scintillating when that was removed. Tellingly, though, as we said at the top of this video, the protests tonight were quiet. They were quiet like I couldn't believe. There's a video actually from Liv's Twitter account, which I'm going to play in a few moments' time for you. I'm going to get it up on the screen here. Actually, it's right in front of me now. And it's, you know, you think about the size of the Manchester United protest that happened just last week. And of course, you don't want to repeat all the things we saw there. But when I show you this, let me show you this now. This was from today. And I'm not poking fun here. This isn't about point scoring. This isn't about poking fun. This isn't about, oh, my club's bigger or better than yours. I just want to gauge what you will think and feel about this.
People say don't protest on a Thursday. Don't protest on a Thursday. We've got a match. Let the boys focus on a big European League match. Let's all protest on a Sunday. We're here on a Sunday. Where's everybody? Look at this. This is embarrassing. How do you expect the Kroneke to take us serious? It looks like there's more to this than Arsenal fans at the moment. It's absolutely a joke. People are just chilling. Like, it's a joke. You expect the Kroneke to take us serious when this is how we're turning out? Like, where was that energy for Everton? Where was that energy? It's like people coming for vibes. No one's coming in for real meaning. But everyone's chilling. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke at the moment. Like, what is this? What is this? Seriously, look at this. It's a joke.
And listen, I understand why Lives is frustrated there. I legitimately get it. I understand the frustrations. And he got it right there. It sounds like vibes. It's people have turned up for a kind of, I know you're not meant to have that many people together at the moment, but it's almost like it's become a day out for people. The lack of people there. And I think one thing Liv said there that was telling to me is a lot of people said, let's not protest on the Thursday because of the importance of the game. Was that just an excuse? Was that just a way of people getting out of having to turn up and having to do it? It's the third protest Arsenal have done. The numbers each time have regressed. And I understand some people have commitments today. Some people have work. Some have family situations. And I get that you can't always get the same people can't go to every single protest. But those numbers are really pitiful considering what they're trying to achieve. The official bid from Daniel Ek has not come in at the end of this week like the media told us and suggested it would do. But I want to hear from Gooners. I want to know how you're thinking and how you're feeling about this. I've got Harry and I've got Igal backstage that are going to be coming on very, very soon with us here. And the comments are interesting. We will speak about the game, but as we know, it was a dead rubber, to be absolutely honest. So there wasn't too much riding on the game in relation to that. So we can talk about that. We will take your calls on it as well. But just want to understand what you think. Will this die away like many of us suggested a few weeks ago? Was it just we have to remember this as well. As important as people's football clubs are, they're not as important as other emotive subjects that people protest around the world, from racism to climate change. Of course, protests that were going on today in London in relation to the horrific events in Palestine over the course of the weekend. These things are far more pressing in people's lives. I get that. But there's a lot of talk and not a lot of action when it comes to the Arsenal fans. I'm going to get Harry on. I'm going to get Igal on now to come and have their say with us. Evening, gents. How are you both?
What's happening? All good, mate. All good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, you won tonight. I mean, let me ask you about the game first. How did it feel winning a game that, literally didn't matter? Or did it matter to you?
Can I go first, Harry? I felt more dejected and more angry today than I did on Thursday, even, because I see how they act when there's no pressure. Willian pops up with a goal. Willian! The guy who didn't score all season, Terry. Harry, the man never scored a goal for Arsenal. He scores a free kick today. Pepe, he scores a beautiful goal. Shows what he's able to do. Saka at left back. If we would have played with Saka at left back, who knows? We would have maybe ripped Villarreal apart, because Saka was getting in behind every time, getting in behind every time. And for the cutbacks, he's cutting it back. Smith Rowe, busting a gut to get there. Martinelli, busting a gut to get there. But you know what you don't see? You don't see Willian busting a gut to get there. You don't see other guys busting a gut to get there. Also, the goal that we conceded, Terry, how bad that just is an emphasis of what Arsenal is. Nobody takes out the man. Nobody stops him. Pereira takes the ball from half. Drives, just outside the box. When you think there's two Arsenal defenders around him that could stop him, El Neni, and you have Gabriel. Both of them could have engaged. El Neni slows down. He says, no, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to injure him. What? And then you got Gabriel on the other hand. This is honestly, it's ridiculous. At this point, I've analyzed the whole season, and I've said to myself, every game, there's a bigger purpose. There's a reason behind it. At this point, Arteta, you have to play for next season. You cannot play for this season. This season is done. Play the kids. When you have a left back problem, don't play Saka there. Give the young Lopez guy a chance. If you have a situation in the midfield, give Aziz a run of games, at least one or two. Give Balogun a chance starting up top. Let's change it up. It's frustrating.
I understand it's frustrating, and I get where you're coming from as well. You sort of tweeted out, where was this performance on Thursday? We know it didn't exist. Harry, how about yourself? I mean, these last few games, will it be more frustrating if you play well, or encouraging for next year? Like, how would you assess that?
Probably neither, because I don't think it will have a reflection of where we'll be next year. I think half of that's not half the squad, but a lot of players will be moved on. So I think even if players like Rob Holding, has a great game, I think we'll still look to sell him. If Lacazette scores goals, I still think we'll look to sell him. So I think for me now, it's just trying to finish the season with some positivity, if that's even possible. Let's not forget, we are all feeling pretty dejected at the moment. I know I've kind of signed out of enjoying Arsenal this year. So I think we just need to, get some points on the board and try to get to a more respectable league position. Because whilst I understand people are saying play the kids and try this, try that, if we lose games, then everyone will be out for Arteta even more. So Arteta's got to try to save some sort of reputation that he has left, if he has any amongst Arsenal fans. So I think now just try to win a few games, and you never know, we might be able to catch a few of the teams above us, and then the overall season doesn't look as bad as it was, even though it is really, really shit. Oh, sorry, really, really bad. Excuse my language. Sorry.
It's fine. No, I kind of get that, and the league's going to be interesting for Man United now, because we've West Ham lost. So we're officially in the top four. Now, of course, we've got Champions League to look forward to, a final to look forward to. It's different. Dead rubbers are always hard to get up for in the same way. Even, I always remember being champions of England, and you'd have the last couple of games of the season, we'd play kids. And a lot of people go, I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Bloggs make his... And I never used to... Because it wasn't a competitive game in the conventional sense, it was difficult to really assess, well, how well did the kid really do? Because the game had no pressure. When there's no... It's funny, we had a big debate last night on here with LFC Sonny, who basically said, in a nutshell, he doesn't believe elite-level athletes bottle things. He said it's just like a fan thing. He thinks that they're all to become an elite level sports person, you have to have a high level mentality. Thus, you can't bottle anything.
He obviously hasn't watched Arsenal or Spurs over the past.
I think he made an overarching point that we do probably use the phrase too much. Sometimes you're just beaten by a better team. It isn't always that. But he was basically saying he doesn't think players lose confidence on the pitch or like courage on the pitch. And I think they do. And I also feel like when a game doesn't matter and there's no pressure, that pressure stops you from losing your confidence. You do feel more confident. How often do you see a team playing averagely, they score a goal and then suddenly they look like Barcelona, like peak Barca, because the confidence starts flowing through them. It's amazing, really. And my fear for Arsenal fans, I know there's only 3 games left, is that I can imagine you beating Chelsea in the next game. I really can. Winning your last 3 games, looking good. And you know what creeps in that? With the right players, we're back. Like, you know what could come. Because it happens all the time with Arsenal. I've seen it for the last 15 odd years. In relation to the protest today, and you're laughing, Harry, because you kind of know how it works.
Oh, yeah, totally, mate. Totally. I'm already thinking, yeah.
Did you see the picture I put up, Terry, on Twitter of our league form in the table at the end of the season for the last 17 years? You could literally see. What?
When did you post that?
I tweeted it today, literally just before the game. It should be one of the last images I tweeted.
Okay, yeah, this is Arsenal's league position since 1994.
Yeah, literally shows you the trajectory.
It shows you the trajectory. This is amazing, right? But it also when did Wenger leave?
There you go.
The season when we finished 6th.
5th.
So I mean,
5th.
Yeah, I mean, it just has. You kind of look at that all of the squares outside the top 4 are pretty much when Wenger was either not here or as he was
2 seasons
in the process of being sacked as it went down. But you can see it there. Like, look at that. I mean, and it's just got progressively worse since Arsene Wenger has left the football club as well. It's crazy. But what I would say about a lot of them seasons is your back end of the season form when the pressure came off you is nearly always very, very good indeed. But that really does demonstrate the decline there, the huge decline of Arsenal Football Club over the course of the last 5 years or so. And it's a long way back. And, you're currently sitting, is it 10th? No, 9th now. You're 9th now. But who knows? I mean, this is the thing. Your next game is Chelsea. Leeds' next game is Burnley. So you kind of look at it and think to yourself, and you play before Leeds as well. So you play on Wednesday, don't you? It's peak, really.
You want me to say something about Arteta, Terry? When it comes down to it, at this point, the whole Arteta in, Arteta out, everyone needs to just stop. It's done. There's no backing him. It's just he's not going nowhere, and it's counterproductive always talking about it. At this point, if he stays in the job past the summer and he's not sacked, you guys cannot throw your frustration at the manager any longer, because it's counterproductive as a fan base. We need to, at this point, throw our blame at the board and the people upstairs, because if they don't sack the manager, and you guys and everyone can see that the manager needs to go at this point, it's up to you. It's up to you guys as a fan base to voice your opinion to the right people. And it's no longer the manager. It's no longer the players. It's the people upstairs. And today's protest is embarrassing. I can't personally be there because today's the 27th day of Ramadan, and I'm going to be spending that day praying at the mosque with my family. And I'm not going to make my way down to London just to come back to be late for that. So I have other priorities, unfortunately. But for everybody who could not go out there, and everybody who thinks, you know what, these things are going away, it's not going away. It's going to come back. But we need the right people to speak up. We need the social media figureheads for Arsenal to speak up, because just putting out a tweet saying Kroneke out on this date clearly didn't work. I seen a guy, Patrick Timmins. He always has positive things. He puts out a tweet about Kroneke out. It doesn't even get 3,000 likes. He puts out a picture of Saka with his head down. It's going to get 1,500 likes. It just shows you where people's heads are at.
No, and mate, I agree with you completely. Listen, everyone, there will be reasons why certain people couldn't be there today, work and whatnot, and I understand that. But Arsenal have hundreds of thousands of supporters just in London. They have millions of supporters, in my opinion. I would hazard a guess you've got a good few million Arsenal fans in the UK. I just believe you do. But in terms of diehards, watch every game, love the club, you've got to have 500,000, easy, a club your size. To not be able to get 3,000 or 4,000 there tells me it isn't a priority for people. And that's fine. but you need it to be a priority if you're going to make things happen. Man United have made a big splash. You know, what we did last weekend was crazy. The way that we've crashed the share price of TeamViewer, we've stopped a £200 million shirt sponsor deal, a training shirt sponsor deal from going through because of the actions of these fans and supporters. I still don't believe our movement will last. And I don't believe that our movement is going to give people the results that we expect it to. I believe eventually there'll be a little bit of a compromise, a good player or two, and it will die down. But there's no offer from Daniel Ek, hasn't come in. They were told end of the week. Someone said to me today, it's probably going to be today. I went, who bids for a company on a Sunday? Mother's Day, in fact, in North America. Who does that? Like, he ain't coming tonight. He's not going to sit. You know, he's not doing it on a Sunday night. Like, so he hasn't done it yet. Why isn't he done
it? PayPal, isn't he?
Yeah, sorted it out.
Hey,
Yeah.
I need to post my opinion to these guys, the social media giants out there. Arsenal fans are you guys are basically the main representatives of the Arsenal fan base with the loudest voices. AFTVs of the world, the people like DT, the people like Turkish, everybody else who all you big fans. What we need you guys to do is we need you guys to collectively in unison do what we did the first time around after the Super League. Put it on your YouTube accounts, put it on your social medias, put it out there on your Instagrams, on everywhere, and come up with an actual scheduled event where everyone can come. Maybe on a Friday, maybe on a Saturday, maybe on a Sunday. But we need to have a direction. And I'm not gonna say Manchester United fans have a direction, because even with or without the main social media heads, they still went out there in numbers. If this is where our fan base is, we're not gonna go nowhere, Terry. We're gonna just give up and we're gonna change. Because if no one's going to speak up, it's just going to go back to the same thing. And the Kronkies are going to try to blind us by buying some players. And personally, I'm a positive fan. That's who I am. I'm a glass half full kind of person. I'm never going to change. But at the same time, these guys have absolutely broken me and hurt me this season to an upward event. And you can tell.
I understand where you're coming from. And listen, I said before to people, I don't care what Man United, what Arsenal, what Spurs fan does or doesn't want to turn up to protest or wants to get involved or anything like that. Like, I just legitimately, I actually don't care enough about what other people think and feel to that degree. But the point, all I've said all along is, if you want to get change, you've got to do something drastic. You've got to make an impact. You've got to make a splash. I don't actually think the protests are the most important element. We all say our owners only care about money. We've got to take the money away. The real response is going to be when the new shirt comes out, when the new training kit comes out, the response to signings, who does or does not renew their season tickets and their rationale kind of for it. And I sort of am buying merchandise, whatnot. And I sort of feel like I get this feeling that even at the last protest, if the mega store would have been open, people would have bought stuff still as souvenirs.
Terry, I feel like there's a fear of hypocrisy from maybe some Arsenal fans, and I think maybe they're thinking, wait a minute, if Kroneke doesn't sell, because it's undecided, right? We're not sure if he is going to sell. Resentment might kick in from their perspective, and they think, fuck it, we're just going to stay here for as long as we can and keep going. And then Arsenal fans, maybe slowly but surely, they're realising, so if these guys aren't going to sell, and then in the summer, we do invest heavily and sign 2 or 3, big players, and then we release these banging new kits. We want to be able to enjoy that. We want to be able to buy those kits. And maybe it's dwindled down because of that, because essentially, the big YouTube or the big Arsenal fans that you've mentioned, they'll be no doubt buying the kits in the summer when it comes out, when Ian Wright's released a new Adidas video talking about how great London is on a bicycle, and everyone's like, look at this new kit, it's all retro, everyone's going to buy it. So it's really hard for Arsenal fans, I think, to be consistent with their protest, because they're, like everything, it dies down as it has across the whole media platform. But I think fans are thinking, we still want to go to games next year, so is that going to make us a hypocrite? Like I said on here, a few weeks ago, I'm still going to go to games, and if 59,000 season ticket holders tell me that we're not going to go to games for Kroneke out, then I'd change my position. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the season tickets will obviously sell out, and I think everyone will go next year. But I think the Kronkes aren't going to sell, and I think they're going to invest heavily. And
I need it one more time. Big up the United a lot, because what you guys were able to do with team viewer stock and show your owners how much it means to you guys. We should do the same thing. by starting with going to trust pilots and giving them reviews, by starting and showing them that we are angry and we're frustrated that you're even associated with these clubs. Because you know what, Adidas, they could, if they continue to see people are turning away from Adidas and buying Nike because their association with the club, you know what, they're going to be like, you know what, there's bigger clubs out there, there's other clubs out there, we don't need Arsenal. If we do the same thing with Fly Emirates, Emirates is the biggest Arsenal sponsor. Obviously there's no other way to fly to Dubai. Obviously, if you're going to Dubai, you're going to have to fly Emirates. But if you're going other places, you don't have to fly Emirates. Am I wrong? So we could hurt them financially. There's other means to hurt them. We don't only just not have to buy kits. We don't only just not have to go to games.
I totally agree with that. And I think what you've hit a really good point there, Harry. People do look at it and go, am I going to end up making a rod for my own back? Am I going to end up like again, people always think you're taking indirects at people, and it's not about that, because when I finish talking about it on the stream, I don't sit there going, oh, what's this blogger going to do? What's this YouTuber going to do? What's this writer going to do? But, I'm pretty sure some of the YouTubers will do an unboxing of the new shirt. I'm pretty sure, and that's fine. Do it. It's just a case of like, yeah, whether you, I always love the excuses. Oh yeah, but it was sent that, it was a gift. Yeah, but it was sent to you as a gift. Like when people I always say this to people, like companies gift influencers things, hats, hoodies, whatnot, because they want you to do a little story about it and advertise their product so other people buy it. You're an influencer. So you being gifted something is a way of them making you advertise them for free. Sometimes they gifted and pay you to do it. I'm not suggesting that's happened with anybody with Arsenal shirts, but that's how it works. How do I know? I work within the industry. I get how it operates. And I think you're right, Harry. I think people have realized if I'm going to go down that line, I put myself into a position where I can't. You even put yourself into a position where you can't do your match review and rant about the manager. If you say the only reason we're in this situation is because of the owners, it's like, but then how do I blame Willian and Arteta when we lose a game? I can't, because I fundamentally said that we're not here because of anyone else other than the owners. And I totally get that. I understand why people look at it from that point of view. It's what it comes down to, especially people that, if you're a writer and your job is to, critique the team as opposed to the club per se. If you did an article today saying I'm no longer going to write anything negative about the way Arsenal football team plays, I'm just going to focus on the owners, you're going to get really bad hits on your articles next year, because after the first couple that go out about the owners, everyone's going to be bored stiff. Yeah. They can't put ex-pros, people like have a pop at the ex-Man United players who work for MUTV again. They won't call the Glazers out. Do you know why they work for MUTV? Because they didn't make enough money in football to survive the rest of their lives at earning money. They're not going to call out their employers. A lot of the ex-pros, the older generation that you see as ambassadors for the clubs, do all those kind of, they do the meet and greets in the kind of the box rooms and the dinners after games. I don't think they really want to be there. In the sense of, I don't think at 60 years old they're going to be standing around dining tables telling people stories about a fight they had in the dressing room 30 years ago. I think they want to be at home with their wife or their husband, with their kids and grandkids, relaxing, but they have to be there for work. They're never going to call the clubs out because they need the job that the club is offering to them. So it's like they're not going to put themselves into a position where they either look like a hypocrite or anything else. Ian Wright's a great example. I love Ian Wright.
Yeah, can I just say as well, I love Ian Wright. I know I mentioned him before.
And I get you, you're not having to go in. The point is, right, if he's involved in the next advert advertising Arsenal merchandise or something, everything he said no longer stands for anything in terms of on that particular subject. It's like, well, you don't really stand for. Do you get what I mean? Unless you want to address it.
There's a bigger issue than just Ian Wright's words. Social media has become the voice of Arsenal fans almost. Where if I big up Pepe for scoring a goal today, people think I'm saying Pepe is better than this guy or that guy. And I've been drawn into that, and I've made my own mistakes by drawing comparisons to Pepe and Pulisic and everything else, which is actually, looking back now, silly of me to do. But don't think just because I make a banterous point about Nicolas Pepe and Pulisic that I'm saying that these players are amazing and they're 10 times better than they should be. Because a lot of fans, Terry, they get their opinions from social media, and that's where they run with ideas. And what Kesh put in the chat just a few seconds ago, don't get carried away with today's goal. Do you see any Arsenal fans saying Nicolas Pepe is now amazing because he scored one goal? Willian, he's amazing because he scored one goal? No. But you're going to see people on social media doing that. and it's gonna mask over the people who are logical with a lot of the gaslighting and overgassing of situations, and people on social media who are celebrating us losing, that are Arsenal fans on Thursday. You should be embarrassed of yourself. Facts. You should be embarrassed of yourselves, because as a fan, we should all be happy when we win and sad when we lose. Anybody who's taking it as a personal victory when we lost in the Europa League because you called it 17 months ago, get out of here. You're not.
Yeah, but do you know what, mate? Well, listen, I understand your view on that, right? But I've had a lot of soul searching to do in the last 2 or 3 weeks on social media. I know this because I chatted to someone who told me this, right? We had about an hour and 40-minute conversation the other day because he basically thought I didn't like him for years on socials because I challenged some of his points about Man United. He challenged mine. We never had a conversation. We spoke, and he was like, "Oh, I really thought you felt X, Y, and Z way." I said, "Yeah, you know when I said sometimes I tweet stuff and then I delete it on purpose." He's like, "Why?" I said, "Because it triggers people that I've deleted it." He's like, "So," I said, "Yeah, I'm not really backtracking. I'm just having a laugh. Like for me, it's not serious. Some things on socials are serious, like online abuse, serious. Like I've taken a stance against that recently. Like I was chatting to a mental health expert at the company I work for, and they were talking about sort of like calling people out for things they do wrong to a certain degree. It's like, could you do it privately and take action against people, or should you always do it publicly, like doxing people? So why? And they were talking about the long-term implications that has on other people's mental health. And it's like, sometimes I think you're right for calling people out publicly for things they do. There are other times where you're like, am I actually causing more damage either to their mental health, or do I create a ripple effect that leads to more people getting abuse and other things going on? And it was just, I can't articulate it like she did, because she's an expert in this field, but she was explaining how like you might stick up for one person and be right in doing it, but it causes the people that support that person to come back and attack you. That damages your mental health, which makes you vulnerable. That might lead to you lashing out at somebody else, and it becomes this knock-on effect. So sometimes doing the right thing can impact 100 people in a negative way over the space of a month. He was talking about the ripple effect of social media. She made an example of, if you're on the motorway driving and you slam your brakes on, you could cause a 4-mile towel back, but that might not happen for an hour because it's a knock-on effect. And I was like, it blew my mind as a conversation. I said to her, you should be doing this on camera and sharing it. I think it would resonate with people. And I think that's why I've now stopped interacting so much with people on socials. Like, someone puts out an opinion I disagree with, unless it's someone I know, like in our group chat, I don't comment anymore unless I'm supportive of it, because I need to be aware of those things. And so there's this element, like when it comes to like football opinion, where some people are just having fun, others are being serious, but it's all amalgamated together. You've got some that are on Twitter for a laugh, some that are on here, it's their job, it's their business, and they're all intertwined together. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's created a situation where it's just become toxic, partly because of that. And then you've got the anonymity part where we don't know who anybody is and they can say and do what they want. But it's a madness out there right now. And it's like,
you got it when you said you were Ollie out, but then you changed your mind and you said, you know what, there's no point. It's counterproductive at this point.
Bro, I get it all the time when I say, well done, Ollie, this was great. But people say, but you said that he isn't good enough to win the league. I don't think he is. So why are you congratulating him for winning today? Because I am. It just is. But then people can't. But then that leads to someone calling me a name, and then somebody else jumps in and says, "Don't talk to Terry like that." And then and it's like, just leave it. Like, it ain't worth it. But this is what happens with an Arsenal fan. It's happened on the stream. I've seen the comments. I haven't read them out on purpose. I say that I think some Arsenal fans need to step up and do more if they want the protest to continue. Why are you taking snide shots? Just say the names of the people you're speaking about. I can tell you this now on my children's life. There's no one person I'm sitting there thinking about. I'm talking about the collective people that want the protest to continue. If you're a big YouTuber and you don't care about the protest, I ain't talking about you. Do you know what I mean? But if you're a YouTuber,
shoe fits, basically.
If you're a YouTuber that's moaning that the protests are not happening, but you're doing nothing to make them happen, shut up. That's all I'm saying to people. It's a madness out there. And like I said all along, though, these protests were always going to die. Because they just were. I just had a feeling because, and Harry hit the nail on the head, because people don't want to disassociate themselves with the club. They want the kits because the new Arsenal shirt, when you out, it's a symbol. You put your shirt on.
But Terry, how long have Arsenal fans been saying Kroneke out for years, right? for years. It feels like 5 to 10 years they've been wanting Kroneke out. But we all purchase the new kits every season. We all consume everything we can, that possible that relates to Arsenal. But obviously the Super League was deemed one step too far. That's what really pushed everyone over the edge. But, we've been almost contradicting ourselves for years in terms of Kroneke out, but consuming everything Arsenal related. So it's really, really hard for all fans to do that, because you don't want to disassociate yourself with the club, which is why I came on here a few weeks ago saying I'm still going to go to Arsenal because I want to go watch Arsenal. And go on, sorry.
Anyone who is upset with your opinion nowadays, we're in a polarized world where you have to be either one or the other. And if you're not one or the other, and you guys try to come in a room and have a conversation, it's almost like you can't reason. I'm not saying, you know what, people can still be criticizing the manager, get at him. Today he did things wrong too, just like he does every single game. No one's perfect, right? What I'm saying is, I'm no longer defending this guy. Doesn't mean that my stance of backing him up until that point was wrong. I was right as a person to back a manager until I see from my own eyes that I don't think he's fit enough to be in the job any longer, or fit enough for him to be continuing as in the position. That doesn't mean that one person's right or the other person's wrong. That just means, you know what, other people can come to conclusions in different ways. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I said this on your show the other day. If someone's running a race and during that whole race, you're telling that person, you're shit, you're going to finish last, you're going to finish last, you're going to finish last, you're shit. But someone else is saying, go on, you can do it, you can do it. If that person finishes last, that doesn't make you a scientist. It doesn't mean that you know everything about football. It just means that was your prediction. You thought it was going to be good. Someone else thought it was going to be shit. So I just feel like now we're living in this massive I told you so world. The things I've seen on Twitter is almost like people are celebrating the fact that we're right about Arteta more than being upset about us being out, which is like the really, really sad part of an Arsenal at the moment.
Mate, I hear you, and it's like Aaron tweeted, the Man United fan Aaron, he's part of the channel. He tweeted about people that were wrong about Cavani. I love the fact I was wrong about Cavani. So when I predict something negative about Man United, so I think X player is going to be rubbish, but he turns out to be great, I'm so happy I'm wrong. I don't care about being right all the time. If I'm proven wrong, does that make sense? If I think I'm right about something and you can't prove to me I'm wrong, I'm not going to change my mind. I need the proof in front of me. But people are so like, I find it weird. As you said, that polarization has now creeped in, and the sad part is it just stops genuine football debate, and then it becomes personal. Then it becomes personal, and it's sort of like, don't need to be personal. And I had this conversation last week with someone. I said, I literally don't think about you on a personal level. I just see your football tweets, and I want to interact with them. That's why I joined Twitter. And he was sort of like, oh, but that's how I do it as well. I said, then I won't call you out anymore. He's like, no, it's cool now. I'll take it in the right way. And I'm like, now it's cool. Like, it's great. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We're going to share the lines for people to come on and have their say. We're going to share this.
I'm going to go off camera because I need to eat.
Okay, no worries, bro. No problem at all. Not a problem at all. We've had a few super chats to put on here. We're going to go to this camera angle. If you want to call in. Harry, you there?
Yeah, man. Sorry.
Okay, cool. You were really still, and the camera had bugged out before. I didn't know if you disappeared.
I was thinking about your words. That's why. I was just thinking about everything you say.
Oh, I'm just stupid. Don't listen. I'm a moron. Don't listen to me. Arsenal fans overhype their own players, managers, and club more than any other fan base. So much William gas. Yeah, I mean, the William gas is amazing. But that's the point, though. Do you know what's really disappointing me this football season? Is what by February, everyone stopped backing their teams. It's almost become the fashionable thing is to play the underdog or write yourselves off. And for me, it's like, come on, like back your team. That's the whole point. It's meant to be fun.
But Terry,
you brace yourself, don't you? You brace yourself for the abuse, or the defeat. So you kind of get yourself ready. You become impartial. I've done it recently. I've sat on the fence about certain players or certain things. Because I think, oh, it's no point saying it because it might go the other way. Because you know what comes with making a statement nowadays. It's a lot of, like I say, I told you so. I feel like a lot of football fans, maybe because of social media, I feel like we've lost sight of what our purpose is. Is to support the club, support the players, enjoy watching football as much as you can. I know it's hard when you're shit, but then we could also say that the more toxic Arsenal have become, it feels like the worse we're getting. We hounded Wenger out, we hounded Emery out. We're just going down. So from now, I'm just thinking, do you know what? I totally agree with you, Gail. I was firmly behind Arteta. I'm now seeing that actually I'm probably wrong on that, and Arteta is clearly showing signs of not inexperience, just the attributes to perhaps be a top level manager. However, I do believe in giving people time to, to right their wrongs. We live in a world now where someone makes a mistake and we want them to be held accountable. We want to go on Twitter, slag them off. We want to make sure that everyone knows that we dislike this person or we dislike this manager. If a manager makes mistakes, we want him to come out and apologize to us profusely and make sure that he knows that he's done a bad job and get sacked. I would like us to try and say, cool, you have done a bad job, but you do have potential. You obviously are a good coach, but you're struggling. Let's give you X, Y, Z and see if we can build something together rather than keep chopping and changing. Why not just believe in a bit of time? To build something with integrity, you have to show integrity. To build something that's loyal, you have to show loyalty. And maybe we can do that with Arteta. I'm not saying he's the right man for the job. I'm just saying if he's here, let's get behind him and back him.
Let me just bounce off you, Harry. Support the team, not your agenda or your points that you've made to try to prove yourself right. Because at the end of the day, what you said earlier, Terry, if it means you're proven right and it's better for your team, you should be happy. You shouldn't be upset that Willian scored a goal today because you thought he was shit, or Pepe's performed bad all season and now that he has 17 goal involvements, you're upset. You shouldn't be upset. You should support your team and not your personal agenda or your points to be proven right.
I think what happens a lot of the time, though, Igal, is this element of it's false. It's a false narrative, or it's a false belief more than a narrative. Although people do say it privately. To be a successful, I'm going to talk about YouTubers and content creators. You don't need to be right about everything to be successful. I think people believe they do need to be. The amount of people that I see die on a hill over a certain subject matter rather than going, I was wrong about that. That's great. Let's move on. That's what football chat is. And I almost feel like football fans in the social media sphere are losing sight, as you say, of what it is to be a fan. We're meant to be fickle. We're meant to be able to change our mind, but admit you've changed your mind, if that makes sense. It's just what I'm seeing even now. People double down, or they just slyly out of nowhere act like, no, I was never Ollie out. I never said that once. It's like, yeah, you were. There's the tweets. And then it becomes toxic again. It's just like, you know what? I changed my mind on Ollie. I've seen for this reason. People just accept it. It's just become really weird. Like I've been on social since like 2013. I've been doing YouTube on and off since sort of 2013, right through to when I went like really heavy into it in like 2018. And like, I've just seen the landscape change. And then what's happened is, you see YouTubers that are at the protest getting threatened in Manchester by certain fans. You don't represent us. No, I represent me and my opinions and people that like, we consume football in this modern day where, yeah, we don't go to the pub and eat beer, drink beer and eat pies and sing songs. We support in this way. And that's fine as well. Like the whole world is just mad like that. It really is. We're going to go to some calls though. We want to get your opinion, not so much on today's game, although we are willing to listen to it. The Kroneke out movement, is it finished? Is it falling away? And if you believe so, why? Make sure you're hitting that like and that share button for us this evening. First on the show, Guna Express is here. What are you saying, buddy?
Yeah, on the protests, I don't think they ever really got started, to be totally honest. They were never going to continue because Arsenal fans were never going to do what we need to do, which is to stop buying things, to stop going to games, to start properly protesting, because standing outside a stadium and making some noise is great, but postponing big games like Villarreal, that sends a message, because you really think that UEFA aren't going to get annoyed if, that game gets cancelled, or Villarreal aren't going to get annoyed and they're not going to go to the board and complain about it. But apparently, like Liv said in that video, he said it perfectly. We couldn't protest on Thursday because the game is too important. And then we can't protest today because nobody wants to show up. The game is pointless, but again, what message does he send to the Kroenkes? That we're weak, that we're not really going to keep doing what we need to do to get him out, and that he has control, and we're just giving him that control right now.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel this will dwindle away now?
Yeah, definitely. I don't see any more protests for the rest of the season. And to be honest, again, next season, all the Arsenal fans will have their new hats, their new shirts, their new scarves, and everybody will forget about it. We'll probably go and buy one big player in the summer and everybody will forget about it. Next season, we'll probably finish 10th again. We'll all complain at the Kroenkes and it'll just be a cycle that goes around and around.
Sad but true. Sad but true.
Yeah, I agree, and do you know, I hear what you're saying. There's no shots there. People are entitled. The thing is, people are entitled to do what they want. My issue is more the sort of virtue signaling that goes with it, and this started to happen a lot. And I did it. I was this when the Super League was first announced. Disgrace. It's out of order. It's killing football. On the same very stream that I started off by saying I wouldn't even be able to support my club anymore if we did this. On the same very stream, I was like, I just changed my mind because I'm still going to watch and I'm definitely going to make content on it. So as soon as I calmed down, and that's the thing. I had an emotional reaction, and then I was like, So other things in life, like you think someone makes a mistake, you judge it in a certain way. You go, okay, I'll forgive them for that. Then you find out new information. Oh, they've lied to me again. Then you double. You can change. Like I think we've created this society now, and it's in football where changing your mind is seen as weakness rather than getting it right first time. And when you're not meant to get it right first time, we're human beings. Like you're meant to be able to make mistakes, but there just seems to be no forgiveness in it. So people have become desperate to not make mistakes, whether it be score predictions for a game, backing a manager or whatever. It's almost, there almost seems to be safety in the negativity and the safety in predicting it going wrong. And then if you win, it's like you get to celebrate. But if you predict a win and you lose, it's like, people, and they don't like it anymore. It's crazy. And the out movements, yeah, they're all going to fade away. I mean, that's they're all going to fade away. They people lose interest, especially with the summer coming. Right? And I know there's no games, right? But there's still things you could do potentially. As it's the reason why I'll tell you why no one was there today. It's quite warm. I know this because my timeline was full of people having barbecues. People were going out for drinks and everything else. The world changes. It's like I remember when the London sort of protests or riots, whatever you want to refer to them as, happened back in sort of 2010 or 11, and my dad was like, "Oh, it's just a shame it hasn't rained." And what do you mean? He went, just look back through history. You never find a protest or a riot when it's pissing down the rain. Like people can't be bothered. And I'm like, find me footage of in the UK, where it's like torrential rain and people are out there. They're not that I going out in that.
The Black Lives Matter protest.
Sorry,
the Black Lives Matter protest. It was raining.
I get that. That's about something that people seriously care about. That's my point. What I'm telling you about is like a lot of people. The initial protests that happened all the way back then, they were people that cared. But then it becomes something else. It became a way of getting a free pair of trainers. Like it legitimately did, because I remember I lived in Hackney. I kind of went out and was sort of local watching. I chatted to some girl and this guy, right? I said, "Oh, what you here for?" The guy literally said, "Free trainers, bro." So that's anecdotally, right? That's just one person. I get that. But it's like, I don't think those people cared about the reason that it all started in the first place. But if it had been raining, would they have cared more about the free trainers or not getting wet? Like, I just sort of look at these things and think to myself, you very rarely see it. Like, and there's always an exception that will prove the rule. But at the end of the day, like, Arsenal fans, a lot of Arsenal fans today and Man United fans next week will care more about having a barbecue with their brother they haven't seen for 6 months than they do protesting the Kronke's out. And that's the reality of the matter. There isn't going to be enough care. There isn't going to be enough attention towards it. There isn't going to be enough, and then what happens is it ends up being belittled or it moves away from what people are actually fighting for or protesting for in the first place. But you know what I mean? It's someone here says, yeah, they're trainers are sneakers. If you of the North Americans like, what are trainers?
Shoes.
Yeah, trainers are shoes, they're sneakers. Yeah, like I remember once I was wearing a pair of what I would call trainers, and a friend of mine from the States like, "Oh, I like your tennis shoes." I died, bro. I died.
Terry, could I make a quick point? Is it possible you can make room for Kesh? He's been trying to get on.
Yeah, I can do that, man. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, tell him to keep trying.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I'm not trying to take shots at nobody. I just genuinely, as fans, we're so toxic between each other and arguing between each other. It's already such a bad season on the pitch. We don't need to have infighting amongst us off the pitch. It makes no sense.
No, I listen. There's always room for debate and a laugh and a joke, but people often do take things really, really seriously or too seriously in relation to that. Man, like Kesh is here. What you saying, bro?
Not much, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Kesh is
topic?
looking smooth out here. Look at Kesh.
Bro, just tell us how you feel, man.
Underwhelming, deflated, but as I said, the season's done. After the Europa League, the season's been done.
Now I just want to see a lot of the kids out, but I know that's not really going to happen. I know we say there's not a lot to pay for, but then again, there's still a lot to pay for. We need to see the mentality of these players for these last few games. Honestly,
It's all about pride, isn't it? Now,
yeah,
it's
it's
fighting
a
for pride.
lot of pride. It's a lot of pride. They do put their heart in it, and I know it doesn't really mean much them doing it now, but I want to see it.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. It's we're getting a bit of feedback from your mic there. I hear you, bro, and I can sense that dejectors. What's your thoughts, Kesh, on sort of the lack of numbers at the protest today?
Yeah,
Not really, bro. It's sort of cutting in and out.
can you hear me?
I heard you. It all made sense, mate. It was brilliant. No,
you
you're
back
cutting
with-
out, Kish.
We missed the curtains, man. We missed the curtains.
Yeah, I can't try. Yeah, we can't hear you, bro.
Pretty much sums up our seasons, doesn't it?
So yeah, try.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually throwing him out now as well. Yeah, try call back, bro, and have your say. Do you know what I was doing while we were sitting there talking as well? I googled protests in the rain to see how many have happened. There are actually quite a few, more than I thought there'd be, to be fair. But when you look at it, they're all pretty much like serious things. But there we go.
You know,
I wasn't
the
trying to draw
Kroenkes-
a comparison to Arsenal and Black Lives Matter, though, just so people know.
No, listen, I know what you mean. And like I said, like back to what happened in London all those years ago, the initial things that started were a very serious matter. But when they went away from that and it became opportunistic for certain people, like I remember this journalist going around and asking people why they thought these things started, and some of the answers were comical. It was like they had no idea. So that's my point. When people are not taking it seriously, when it becomes a vibes thing, like Liv said today, people are there because I want to be seen to be there because it's cool and it's popular. It's so it falls away really quickly. Does that make sense? Because you're not there because you probably find there is a very, very small percentage of Arsenal, Man United, Tottenham fans who genuinely want change more than anything else, that would be willing to see their team get relegated to get the change. Most would be like, oh, do you know what? Relegation or keep the Kroenkes. Oh, I'd rather stay in the Prem, to be fair. Like, if they were being blatantly honest, that's what I mean. So that's what I'm saying here. I'm not belittling genuine people that care about protesting anything. I'm saying a lot of people turn up for like fashion reasons. One of my nieces, she went to so many protests in the last year. And I remember hearing her talk at a family barbecue about it. She was like, oh, I love going because I love getting the pictures and getting it on Insta. And I'm like, so you're just there for, she went, yeah, she basically admitted to it. She went, I go because it looks good on my social. So when I apply for jobs and they check you out, I look righteous. But it ain't her alone. It's a thing, bro. It's a thing. Like
Terry,
people, it's self-righteous.
One of the guys who always comes on my channel, he went to a protest today and he was there. I think he might even be in the backstage right now. Shocks. He was telling me the people who were there were just standing around to see if anyone came to chant. Until a group of people came with banners and chanting, no one actually spoke. Everyone was just walking around like it was another day at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think some people that have gone to these things, it's like, I want to get on camera. I want to be seen. I want to be. Yeah, I think they do. I think it's, oh, wow, it's going to be me. I saw one Arsenal fan like buzzing because there was a picture of a newspaper took a picture and it was him on it. And he was like, oh my God, I'm in the paper. I'm like, is that what you care about for this? I don't know. Like, it's like vanity takes over. And when that's the driver for a lot of people to go to any kind of protest, it falls apart really quick and really easy because it's built on no foundation. And I know it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. And do you know why? I'm like that. So I care about certain things. But I know in my heart of heart, if I'm being brutally honest, there's only 2 or 3 things in this world that I care enough about to give up work time or time with my kids, some of my family to go and protest and go and do. I'm not really a protesty type person, but I know that. But I admit it. Does that make sense? Most people don't know. And as I say, I spoke to a lot of people in recent times, and they're like, "Yeah, I go for the gram. It's for the gram. It's for the gram." And we know it. And it's like, Harry's laughing. He's sort of like, I get where you're coming from. That's just my view anyway. I could be wrong. Who are we going to get on next? We're going to get the realist on. What you saying, realist?
Well, Terry, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. What you saying?
Yeah, in terms of the game, it was same old, same old. I was disappointed with a few things, but you know how it is. I wanted to see some of the kids, but they weren't there. We were playing some older heads, some experienced players, but you know how the experienced players are. In terms of the protest, I think it was expected. I think for a club like Arsenal, and we were chatting about on a girl's dream, I think you need someone massive with a big social platform to spearhead this protest. You need,
Rennes just equalised against PSG. Woo! 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 Punch your files. What are you saying? Wow.
A celebration like that, Terry. I thought you were going to say the Glazers have sold up or
Woo!
something.
I thought you were going to do some Arteta breaking news there for a second.
No,
You guys remember how he went when Woodward retired? Resigned?
Oh yeah, man. That's
Go
funny.
on, again, you know what I was saying earlier about I don't take the Poch thing seriously. It's fun for me. It's fun for me to take the mickey out of people that said he would win the league with us. Now that he's gone to PSG and it looks like he's not going to win a one-horse race. Like the guy basically, what he's basically done, he's gone to France, Poch. He's come second in a beauty competition that he was the only person in. Imagine coming second in a beauty competition where you're the only contestant. That's going to be amazing. If they drop points tonight, it's going to be. Hang on, let me just go and check this. I want to make sure I get this information right because this is important.
Lille were 3 points clear.
Yeah, so if they draw now, they'll be 3 points clear with 2 games to go. This could be peak. This could. Oh, please, Rennes, vive la Rennes. Let's do this. Come on. Sorry, back to you, realist. I apologize.
I shit myself for a second there. I thought something happened.
Something has happened. There's a lot of people that just fell in the mud.
Yeah, all the Tottenham fans, man.
Yeah. Go on, carry on, bro.
And United fans, of course. That's why he cares.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, in terms of the Kroneke out protest, I think was expected. I think unless there's a massive social media platform to spearhead this, I don't think nothing big will ever happen. Nothing in terms of the Everton game will happen. I think in terms of what we should do this summer, I think I'd wait because I don't think there's no point in terms of sacking Arteta right now. I think you should sack him at the end of the season. And I think that's it. I think it's depressing. We need a whole squad. We don't need 4 or 5 players. We need a lot of players. But I don't think it's realistic. I think we'll sign someone of Basuma's caliber, and then the fans will get gassed, and then they'll just put on a new hat, buy their merchandise, their scarves, their t-shirts, and they'll just go on.
That will happen. Realist, thank you for calling up, mate, and having your say. Top man, thank you. There's 10 minutes to go, and Poch is in the mud. Do you know what? Do you know what I said about like agendas? I really want Poch as the Man United manager, but what I want more than anything is just for him to not win anything this year because it's just hilarious. It's hilarious. What did you say the name of your friend was? It was backstage.
Shocks.
Shockstar.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's here with us now. How's it going, bro?
Big up, brother. What are you saying, man? Big up, the
Man
man.
TV, okay?
Yeah, big up, man.
Best smile on the internet.
I love my teeth on the camera, man. Especially you got this lighting behind. But yeah, no, you know what? I was gonna come on and I was gonna say, Terry, you had a wicked show last night, right? I was driving and I was listening to it. And you was on with them guys that were talking about bottling, and they didn't believe that one of them didn't believe that bottling actually exists in what he was trying to instill. And I think he was actually interested to hearing his side of everything. And I think in terms of what he was saying relates everything to today in the way Arsenal was playing. All right, when there's no pressure, no nothing, you see people like Willian probably have like the best game in an Arsenal shirt. Like I was watching him, his intricate passing, everything he was doing was actually okay today. You look at Emil Smith Rowe. If you look at last week when we was playing that Europa League game, right? There was a chance where the attackers did something, the ball fell directly to his feet. The goalkeeper was on the ground. Pepe was coming in on the far right post. And all he had to do was just literally just dink it over and just slot it in the net. The pressure got to him so much that he ended up hitting it nearly out of the fucking stadium. It is so interesting. Our mentality at our club is actually in the gutter. And this is why I even heard Arteta came out the other day. He said something, I've tried everything with these players. He's actually telling you everything you need to know about from top to bottom of our club. We are in the gutter. Again, like I was saying, I went to the protest today. Shambles. Obviously, Egal, you saw the footage I was sending you. Gouda Express, you would have seen it as well. Literally, everyone on this occasion was there for vibes. Like, nobody was chanting, but then, don't know if you lot are aware of that guy, Cecil, that comes on AFTV. Cecil.
Yeah, I know Cecil. Yeah.
You know them too, right? Bro, the second they turned up, Egal, I was live on your stream as well. Everyone just started cheering. Everyone started doing their chants and making the noise and doing all of these things. And I was just thinking, I was sitting there, I was like, raw. There was a guy and he was standing there and he was literally next to me. That's the one thing you can say is that everyone's got good vibes when they do go there and stuff. There was a guy here and he just looked at me and he said, this is shit. I've got, he goes, no, I was on my life, yeah. He goes, I've got flares. I'm not even lighting them. There was no point. Keep them in your bro. Save that for your music video, bro. Save that for your music video.
And do you know what's mad about it, bro? What you just said there. Listen, AFTV, I've got so much respect for them for what they've done for this game. This industry they've carved out for everyone. But the reason everyone's picked up when they arrived is the vanity thing. I might get on AFTV. I might get seen. They're there to and I seriously mean this. They are there trying to get a bit of 15 minutes of fame thing. Maybe I'll get an interview or maybe I'll be seen doing something and I'll get notoriety. I can feel it. I've seen that over the course of lockdown. Listen, I'll be a hypocrite to say I don't do YouTube to get my opinion seen. One of the weirdest things I always get accused of is, Terry, you really love the sound of your own voice. Terry, you like someone said to me, you love the sound of your own voice and like you're always trying to get attention. I'm like, bruv, every social media is attention seeking. I put my opinions out there to get people to listen to them. If I didn't, I'd just sit there and talk in front of the mirror, wouldn't I? Like I want attention. But I've noticed it like in hyperdrive through lockdown, it's become crazy. And that's why not everyone's there for that reason. But I noticed it the other day, right? There was a guy that was filming the protests, a no-name guy. Just he literally films protests every week, and he was filming from afar. There was no noise. When he got over and he started putting the camera onto people, suddenly then everybody stepped up and started singing and cheering, and they were sticking their face on the camera. The kids started swearing at the police and doing the madness because they were like, "Oh, there's some attention here and whatnot." Do you think, Josh? Do you think this could be the end of this sort of the Kroneke out movement in relation to protests?
No. What I do think is it looks like AFTV are going quite hard on the last game of the season, which is the 23rd of May, I think, where we're playing Brighton at home, isn't it? It looks like AFTV are going quite hard on that one. I even heard people today talking about, oh yeah, the next one will be better and da-da-da-da-da. So it looks like whoever puts their face forward for that protest as much as possible will bring along their fans. So I'm not to throw out any names of it, but I've seen Turkish already going quite hard on the end of the season one, right? If DT was to come out and say the same thing, then I do believe that everyone would do that. Again, co-signed by Robbie as well. Co-signed by maybe a Lee Judges or a Kalechi who might bring down a couple of African fans. And so, it would have to be a collective kind of thing for everybody but it wasn't enough influences in terms of, so that's why I got to agree with a gal, because not a lot of people put their face to it for it to then flourish the way it did. Before it was so fresh, the Kronkes have just messed up with the European Super League, so then therefore everyone's in a rage now. Anybody with a big name could have put their face to that and said, listen, I'm going down for this reason. Everyone would have went. Hence what you're saying, it just happened that everyone kind of backed it kind of thing. Not enough people backed the one today. And this is why we had literally on my life, there was enough police officers to arrest an individual police officer could have arrested an individual person, and there still would have been more police officers spare to catch more people. They could have took them to the station, done the booking, all of that, came back, and they still would have had everything on smash. All of that are Arsenal getting into the ground. Get the fuck out of it. No one was getting into that Emirates Stadium today. I shit you not. Unless you had a parachute in an airplane and you was trying to you weren't getting in. You weren't. Bro, I shit you not. You was not getting in that Emirates today, bro. Literally. No way. No way. Absolutely.
Sorry, just another update. Paris Saint-Germain are now down to 10 men. Kimpembe sent off for a bad tackle. Oh, watch your files. What's happening?
That's the definition of bottling. There you go. There's the definition of bottling.
That's where bottling's real.
And when have PSG become bottlers in the league? Since Poch arrived.
No, Emery's first season also.
Yeah, but he's a bottler. Do you know what I mean?
Emery and Poch.
He won the league.
I hear that, Jess.
I'm gonna go.
All right, see you later on, Gal. How you doing, Jess? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just listening to you guys. You guys are hilarious. I'm just chilling over here, but you guys are talking about the protest or the lack thereof. I mean, I think it's to be expected after a really disappointing, crashing out of Europe. I don't think people really had the stomach for it, but just because it doesn't go perfect every single time doesn't mean you quit. I know that's easy for me to say because I'm not going to them, But I mean, you guys have to just keep going, you know, and I think it has to be a collective effort. If everybody's just kind of doing things on their own, it's not going to work, you know, but we'll try it again. We'll go again, you know, but definitely has to be still Kroneke out, because even if they don't leave, we need to put pressure on them to at least try to buy our affections, because we need some money. Okay. We need coins. We need new players. I mean, that was dire today. I don't care what the score was. We are shit, you know. So if they will at least buy us a couple of players, I mean, I'm desperate, you know. So you guys, let's just keep going. That's it.
I hear you completely. I like I said, I know, like if I look at the Man United point of view, there's this like we're not accepting your apology. It's leave, or we're going to keep doing this. I think there'll be a yield at some point if, you know, if there's a few things put in place that we want, and I think Arsenal fans will end up doing the same thing, because I still don't believe Kroenkes and Glazers are going to sell. Why would they, when the assets are going to keep growing in valuation? There just doesn't seem normal. The Daniel Ek thing, I know, like Thierry's come out and said, I've seen them. Basically said, I've seen the money. I don't know how he's seen it. Like a man took a screenshot of my mobile bank. I don't know what he did. Yeah, Daniel Ek walked out, like, open the bag. Look, there's £1 billion in my bag. Like, I mean, Mary Poppins' bag, just all in the bottom, right? I'm going to get it all out and slap it up. But like, he's come out and said it's not a publicity stunt. There's a part of me that just, you know, like when you ever get some of them dodgy texts that say, "Oh, the Inland Revenue want you to phone this number, please, because you haven't paid your bills." You know, the first time you receive it, you know, you're like, this don't seem right. There's something off the key here. Right? You know, when you get that email from that prince who suddenly hasn't got a bank account, even though he's a prince. Like, hang on a minute. Hang on. We've all had them emails, right, from scammers. And it's like, that's how this feels from Daniel Ek a little bit. It's like something about it. I don't know what it is. Whether it's just something about it. Just I think, really, like, because you know these people, billionaires all know each other. There's not very many of them, right? They all kind of know each other, and you're doing it all. You're doing the negotiations publicly, like talking to a few like lead financiers. They're like, yeah, it just isn't done like that. These things are just not really done in that way. Oh, Ren nearly scored the winner. Sorry. I'm seeing it fall apart. Got a super chat here that says Wednesday will be a good game. I know Arsenal season is over. They've been poor, but it's rivalry, and I think they'll be motivated to spoil the top four race. Do any?
No, I got no. Listen. No. Let me listen. Yeah, when this game's nothing to play for, yeah, there's literally nothing to play for in this game. So this means only one thing: Arsenal will beat Chelsea on Wednesday. I want to say it now. We're gonna play spoiler, like we will. Listen, when there's no pressure. Nothing to play for.
Yeah, but Chelsea is still going to play for.
No, but
William Creamer.
Like,
Samuel, come on, man.
No. Terry's known his first hand. Okay, when end of the season, when Arsenal finished up, always at the end of the season they turn it on and win a couple of games. So I believe we'll.
This is different though. This Thomas Tuchel team's a different beast. They're smashing City every other week. Like, come on, there's no way we're beating Chelsea. No way. This team, the motivation that I saw today, even. The only players that'll fight are Saka, maybe Martinelli and Smith Rowe, if they even play. And everybody else, they're just going to give up from the beginning. Let's be honest. They're just going to give up.
Then touch that friggin' pitch, bruv.
I want to see how many of them are going to pull a sickie just so they don't have to play in that game. So I
think you rest the kids in that game. You rest the kids and you just let Willian and them go out there and embarrass themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, rest the kids. Take them, let them go on early holiday. Season's over. Let them have a long holiday. It's because we're going to need them badly, you know. So I don't really care if we beat Chelsea. I mean, the whole performance, I needed that on Thursday. That's when I needed it. I don't need it now, you know. So even if they go out there and play well against Chelsea, okay. Chelsea looks really good. If they lose to us, who cares? You know, that's on them, you know. But play Willian, play the dead players, all of them, Ceballos, Elneny, all of them. You know,
play the Chelsea rejects in this game.
With that being said, Jess, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure we're already 6 points off fifth.
Oh
no!
No.
A little optimism in the room, and that. Come on, guys! Jesus Christ! Like, we're only 6 points off fifth. No, what? No chance?
No.
No way. You've been like 6 points away from everything all season.
Are you a Gow in disguise? What's going on here?
No. I'm not. I just like to have a little bit of optimism, you know, just something to believe in at least. Like, do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Literally Thursday, everything just got washed away in my bathwater, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? It's over, isn't it? But you know, somewhere along the line, you wanna cling on to something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we are clinging on to something. Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, and Martinelli. That's it. That's it.
I didn't.
Holiday.
When it comes to Saka, I haven't released it. I was doing some messing around with some artwork earlier. I've made, I think, a really good film poster, and it's from the film Get Out, but it's Saka's face superimposed. You know what I mean? Because Saka's got to get out of Arsenal, bro.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to us right now? Come on now.
Because Saka is too good for art. It's too good to play mid-table. Do you know what I mean?
You're not wrong. Come on, he's not wrong.
The only way's up from now.
Honestly, if you don't improve over the next season, Saka's someone big's going to come in for him. He's so talented. Like, he really, really is. Speaking of young, talented players, Wesley Fofana's tweeted, then followed up by Fabrizio Romano. The Boubakary Samari deal to Leicester from Lille is pretty much done and dusted. It's done.
Arsenal should have signed him, man. Arsenal should have signed him.
And I saw it was a stupid transfer fee as well, wasn't it? Like 25 mil or something like that.
Yeah, it's cheap.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
On the cheap. These little players are cheap, and they were very good players. You know,
well, Pepe wasn't, but yeah.
Let's be real though. If we had signed him, so many Arsenal fans would have capitulated. Who is this guy? He's 20 years old, and do we really believe that Arteta would be able to deal with this player? I mean, the reality is that like, what young player has actually improved this season? I haven't seen much of it. I don't know if it's Arteta or the environment, but Leicester has the right environment to bring in a 22-year-old and let them learn on the job, play under Ndidi. We don't have that, you know, so we either end up with world-class players or players that are good that just underperform, like Thomas Partey, or we end up with kids that end up leaving later because we don't have the environment to let them thrive. It needs to be scrapped and start over. Just tear it down to the studs and start over, because you bring in a Soumare, and I mean, would he thrive at Arsenal?
No,
probably not.
I am totally with you on that, Jess. I swear to you, because what I truly believe, we bring in players of quality or potential to have quality. Something about being in Arsenal takes that all away from you. You instantly turn mediocre, and this is since Wenger days, right? Then what happens is those same people leave, realize their potential, and then get sick again. Have you realized how many players have actually left Arsenal and won leagues? Or
too many to count.
I mean that they are good enough for excellent teams to see them and say they can add to our squad to make us better, or they are genuinely making a squad that's not able to do those things all of a sudden be able to do them.
Listen, if you want Thomas Partey to do well, we need to get another great midfielder next to him, because that Atletico Madrid, you know,
what happens to him? What happens to him when we sign him?
But look at Atletico Madrid, okay, when he was there, Saúl Ñíguez, Kroneke, Marcos Llorente, he had 3 good quality midfielders around him who supported him. So this is what we need at Arsenal. Thomas Partey can't do it on his own. This is one thing.
But Samuel, this is why after that window, I particularly wasn't excited about it, because Partey was never going to be enough, and some fans were giving the window 8, 7, some even higher than that. You can't just sign one player and expect everything to change. Some people were saying we were going to get top 4 because of Thomas Partey.
Come on now.
Obviously, that hasn't happened, and this is what I'm saying. Arsenal fans need to wake up and smell the coffee. That unless Kroneke genuinely goes and buys 6 or 7 players that, first off, are good enough. Second off, the recruitment has deemed them to be good enough, which we all know our recruitment's trash anyway. But you know, we need to build our squad now. We can't buy 2 players one season and then another 2 the next. We need to buy them all at once, or most of them at once. Otherwise, we're just going to get worse and worse, and we can't attract the players that we need to take us back to the top.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it goes even deeper than that, though. I mean, yeah, we can buy these players, yeah, but when they come in and they train, like, come on, we see in the training videos that
the environment is a losing one. I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly, yes, the mentality. Yeah,
they will lose. They will be 3-0 down to West Ham, catch it back to 3-0, 3-3. Then all of a sudden they're throwing out a training video, and everyone has their fucking pants down. Why are your pants down, bro? Seriously, like what, bro? They were kicking the football with their pants at their ankles and laughing, going, woo!
It's not a serious environment at all. It's a losing environment, and there's something that when you walk into London Colony, you know that you can be mediocre and it's fine. Why do you think Willian? I mean, Willian is not a bad player. I know we think he is, but he wasn't last season, and that's because when he got to London Colony, he said, this is a place where you can come and chill and be mediocre. He's been horrendous the entire time, but he played like 9 games in a row before Arteta actually dropped him because it's a losing environment with a losing culture.
What's really interesting, Alexis Sanchez didn't do a good job at Manchester United for a number of reasons. He shouldn't have been here. But one thing that they said about him, same thing was said about Oxlade-Chamberlain when he joined Liverpool, is the lack of fitness was atrocious. So just miles behind their new teammates. And look, Man United were in trouble themselves, so you didn't really see an overt improvement. But you look at Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he got put on like an 8-week program just to be able to catch up with his fellow teammates. Now, human beings are human beings are human beings. At the elite end of the spectrum, an Arsenal squad shouldn't be less fit than a Liverpool or a Man City squad. But it's about that. It comes down to the mentality thing we spoke about last night. The mentality is weak. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to fail because the people at the top don't care. Manchester United are failing because the people at the top don't care. It's like any environment. I work hard in what I've done, but I have worked in departments where the bosses didn't care. So you start not caring as well because you get away with it. And human beings are naturally like that. You slip and slide. We all did it at school, where you had that one teacher that you couldn't mess about for. No matter how naughty, yet even the naughty kids were good for. It was like, I respect Mr. Lancaster because he's tough, you know. And then there was that other teacher where even the good kids were a little bit naughty because you got away with it. We're like that as human beings. And Arsenal Football Club have been like it. Man United have improved under Ollie. Ollie has got things back to a certain point, but where we lack the ability to get over the line.
You also have players that care, though, Terry. That's the thing, too. You have Bruno, and he gives a shit. He does. Like, you have natural leaders in your team. As much as I don't rate, like, Maguire as, like, I think he's a good center back, but I think he cares. You can tell he cares. And so does Bruno. And Pogba is world class. Like, when he shows up on his day, he's good. And and even Rashford, you know, we actually don't have a core nucleus of players that are within the ages of like 25 to 29 that give a shit. Our leaders are 20 and 19 years old, and that's a failure. I don't even think our coach is a leader, and that's an issue as well, you know, so there's that.
I mean, it shows with Tini, Saka, Martinelli, even Smith Rowe. These are the best players who played for the shot throughout the season, and they're the youngest players.
Yeah, and that's where you've got to be really, really careful because I don't know where this kind of thing changed, and maybe it's a social media thing. Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe, they're allowed to have bad games. They should not be at any point. They should never be the players in any one game where you're like, all right, we need you today, otherwise we're not going to win. That's an atrocious thing. It should always be a core, solid group of established, when I say middle-aged, 25-year-old plus players that are your core, and then you sprinkle the kids in so they can flourish and so they can deliver. I remember Gary Neville did a thing on Monday Night Football. It was so insightful where he looked at the young kids that I think it was the beginning of this season. It might be the beginning of last season, to be fair. And he was talking about how talented Greenwood and Rashford, and he even mentioned the likes of McTominay were. Because listen, we don't know how good any of these players are going to become. All we've got now is an opinion based on what we see. But he showed a picture of who they're playing with, the adults they're with, versus who him and the class of 92 were playing with. And he said that none of us were expected. Essentially, Fergie never put the pressure on us, nor did the media, nor did the fans, for us to be the match winners. That was for Pallister and Bruce and Schmeichel and Keane and Brian Robson and Eric Cantona, Brian McClare, Andy Cole. Those are the players that were there to win you the games. We were there to learn and develop, be important parts, but not be the centerpieces. It seems to have changed nowadays where every now and then you get like an obscure, an Mbappe who's playing at an adult level straight away. But then we try and judge everybody with that barometer. We forget that it took Ronaldo till he was like 22, 23 to really kick on and become this player that we know and love today as an example. And where Man United have improved, it is through Ollie. It's through bringing Maguires. It's through getting the best out of Paul Pogba, bringing in your Bruno Fernandez's of this world, bringing in your Cavani's, these older and more experienced players that you can lean on. One of the biggest problems that happened for Jose was losing Zlatan the way he did because he was that kind of father-esque figure. Pogba was a lot younger back then. That's 5 years ago. Pogba wasn't, he was a kid himself still, so he wasn't meant to be the leader at 23 when he rejoined us. And it's about getting that mix. Your elder statesmen, your elder players at Arsenal, are bang average football players that don't care. And it's a recipe for disaster. It truly, truly is. You're absolutely spot on when it comes to that. And the only way you get around it is by spending money. And I would love to get an honest, you're never going to get it because of contracts. I'd love Thomas Partey to explain the difference between playing for Diego Simeone and playing at Arsenal in its environment. And I even feel sorry for Mikel Arteta because all that going on, this is the man's first job. It's stupid. Like when you think about it logically, like no matter what you're trained to do, it's like coming out of university. You might have a degree. You're not just going to come. I don't know. You're not going to come in, right? Finish. I don't know how this works because I'm a moron. But you're not going to finish medical school and suddenly start and be become the lead heart surgeon at a hospital. I don't think you could. I swear there's like a stepping stone process to build up your experience before you do that. You're giving the man one of the biggest jobs in world football with no experience. When it's crumbling, when it's falling apart, when your squad's weak, it's fucking stupid. Like when you think it's dumb.
I said the similar thing. I said, imagine, right, going for a director's role at any big like Tesco's. You want to get the director's job, but you got no references, but just men that say, "Trust me, he's good."
Well, I did. I've got a business degree, but it don't mean shit if you don't know how to do the job. And even when you do know how. Like we used to do these things at Barclays. Like an apprentice scheme where people for like 4 or 5 years would shadow all these different roles and at the end they'd get quite a senior job. And I used to think it was stupid, not because these people were not talented, but they never become a specialist in any one particular area. And they never really, for me, honed in on the skills that they learned at university, the grad schemes. Nearly every single one of them, after they got their permanent job, I would say it felt like within a year or two they were gone, or they were falling apart, or their whole department was on mutiny because they didn't develop the emotional IQ. They didn't have the experience to know how to handle legit difficult situations that you only learn how to handle with experience and time. And of course, grad schemes are amazing. You get people in at the right level. But there should have been so much more coaching, nurturing. I don't want to make this sound the wrong. I was about to say hand holding. That's the wrong way. But mentoring. And slowly exposing them to the experiences so they build things up. And Arteta he's never been in a player dispute as a manager of a football club. And he's doing it at Arsenal where everything you do is reportable. Everything you do is breaking news. You guys it's little things, and this is not a negative. You've got the biggest fan channel in the world covering your club. All these little things, they seep in. Like if something goes wrong at Burnley, how many of us are watching Burnley fan TV and know about it? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, his first player dispute was with Mesut Ozil. That's the level. First player dispute is Mesut Ozil. That's big. You know, if you have your first player dispute is Neil Maupay. Okay, you know, Mesut Ozil is the first player you bump heads with. You know, that's a big issue. You know, so for me, Arteta is going to be fine. Because when he gets sacked, you know, I think it's not a matter of if, it's when. You know, when he gets sacked, he'll go away for a couple days, you know, and some team in another league will pick him up and he'll do just fine. You know, he will have learned on the job at Arsenal and he'll move on to another team. We'll be the ones in shambles. It's really not about Arteta, it's about the club, and having him in the job for a longer period of time is going to hurt us more than him. I'm not really worried about him at all, to be honest.
I did hear a rumor that he could be sacked tomorrow. A loose rumor, but we'll see. Somebody, I love these kind of comments. New Tide said, Terry, EQ is a made up word. I hate emotional intelligence. Let me just tell you a little fact about life. You know, every single word on God's green earth. At some point, someone made it up. Like before the word was invented, it didn't exist. Like they're all made up, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like,
just made a good point.
I love it.
I see him coming back to Arsenal for the next 10, 15 years when he gets more experience. Like I said throughout the season, I think in 10, 15 years, Arteta will be a good manager. But in his managerial career, we got him way too early. So if we were to sack him, I don't think it'll be the last of Mikel Arteta we'll see at Arsenal. That's my genuine opinion.
In relation to what you're saying there, Samuel, this is why I was always saying that I'm not Arteta in or I'm not Arteta out in it, because at the end of the day, you just got to blame the person who put him there in the first place. If that does not show a level of, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing this, you know what I mean? Like, then really and truly, like, who are you to blame the guy for it? Bro, listen, I've done Football Manager, yeah, and I ain't always won the league. If Arsenal come to me tomorrow and say, yo, Shucks, do you want to be Arsenal? Yes, I do. Where do I sign? All of you, man, emailing me, cussing me, trying to punch me up on the roads. I don't care. I'm on 6 mil. I don't care. I like, you know what I mean? I'm going to the club with the Bamiyang and his Lambo. I'm going. But listen, I'm still taking the job. It don't mean I'm qualified to take the job, innit? And it's as simple as that. Do you blame me for accepting it, or do you blame him for offering it to me? Pick your poison. Do you know what I mean?
But Shocks, this is the point, though. For fans, it's easier to blame the manager than get rid of an owner. We've seen it. We've done it before twice. We did it with Emery, and I did blame Emery, and I said that he should go. When you look at it in hindsight, we should never have got rid of him. But it's the same thing with Wenger as well. But at the end of the day, Arteta will get sacked, whether it's tomorrow or next season.
You're right. But another reason people go for managers, it's based, go back to what I said earlier, there's a vanity thing to it. It's the Overton window is that going after the managers makes you popular. I see this from people. Like I like watching from afar, a bit like a stalker, I suppose. And like a little bit like a stalker. I like watching people that I can see are like really kind of becoming vocal in this in the football Twitter space that are maybe really Arteta out or really Ollie out. And then I see when they have a little jump up of followers, how they celebrate the new followers they've got. And I'm sort of like, is that, I feel like that becomes addictive. So they keep doing it more and more and more and more and more, even when it's like, you said that 5 times now. Like I'm bored of hearing it because I've heard it being said before. What else have you got? Like, but it's sort of like they're addicted to the attention that it gives them, and I think there's something in that when it comes to social media. So going after the managers gets more traction. If tomorrow going after owners, and it did for 2 or 3 weeks, is what got you the most attention, people would do it. So I mentioned something about Ollie in and Ollie out about 4 days after the Super League thing, and I got dogs abused. Now is not the time for manager talk. 2 days later, they were all talking about the manager again. And I'm like, I was out by 2 days and you all attacked me. And it's because it's about the consensus. And it was like, you always wait for like one person to like, that's very well respected to do it. And it's like, oh, I can go now. And you always see that when there's disputes on socials as well. It's like, all right, but I'm not going to name anyone. What did so-and-so say about it? Oh, he said it was okay. Oh, yes, okay, it's okay.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Have you not got your own brain? Does your own brain not work? Like, oh, I'm going to do whatever. That's all I see is sheep.
Terry, this is the thing. A lot of fans, and I think Arsenal fans are some of the worst for it, we adopt narratives of bigger accounts. Again, there's no need to name any names because these accounts aren't at fault for it. But some fans wait for them to decide what they're going to do, whether it's we're going to go protest today or we're not, or we're going to be Arteta out today and then Arteta in tomorrow. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I kind of respect some United fans, because there's a lot more United fans that I see anyway that aren't like that. They just think for themselves. The whole team viewer thing. Arsenal fans would never do that unless a big account said, let's go, crash the stocks and visit Rwanda or whatever else. So at the end of the day, Arsenal fans, again, need to wake up and smell the coffee and have your own thoughts on things. Just say what you want to say.
That's why I got a lot of
AFTV as well, because AFTV were to blame for this, because AFTV in the last protest against Everton, they put this out on almost every single video, almost every single social media post, and it showed almost 3,000, 5,000 fans that turned up.
Yeah, but they're not to blame. But they're not to blame.
Yeah, they're not to blame. Yeah, exactly. They're not to blame.
They're not to blame because they don't have to do it. Every Arsenal fan, I know it's happening. I could just go and be there, but they don't because it's like, oh, it's not going to. I feel it's not going to be there. If this big YouTuber is not going to be there, it's not going to. I'm not going to be able to get on the camera. It's not going to have the same feel, so I don't want to go. That shouldn't be why you're going to the protest because AFTV are going to be there. On terms of the opinion, that's why I've got a lot of respect for Turkish, because Turkish is one of the only
consistent,
outspoken Arsenal fans about the Kroneke, win, lose or draw, winning an FA Cup, not winning an FA Cup. He kept it consistent in terms of what he did. And then I felt a bit sorry for him when the protests were going on, because I sort of felt like, because it become popular, and he probably didn't feel sorry for himself, it's just how I observed it. I'm like, where are all these people that are now jumping on this bandwagon? Why aren't they giving him his flowers? Why are they not saying, do you know what, address it? And in the social media thing, I think it's very important to address people, pay homage to people that were the front runners in this before it became popular. And maybe I'm saying that because I've always been somebody that says stop focusing on the manager and let's look at the ownership of the club. And again, suddenly it become popular, and I see all these YouTubers talking about it. I'm like, bruv, I've actually sat in rooms with you. There's streams out there where we spoke about this. You told me I was wrong, and now you're sitting there acting like this has been your mantra all along. And in the Man United space, Stephen Howson, Adam McCullough, I nearly would say his name wrong, and I put it Nordin, who does a show with Saeed. These three are the only three who, for me, whenever I've seen them do anything, no matter what they said about Ollie or Jose or OVG, the owners were at the forefront. Everybody else, it was always a 50-50 thing, or no, let's get rid of the manager and we'll be okay. And that's fine for them to have that as their opinion. But now you've jumped on the Glazer out bandwagon. Pay respect. Forget me. I don't care. But pay respect to the guys that were pushing this fight for years, that you were belittling or pushing down or telling them they're wrong and they're just defending their favorite manager. They weren't. They were talking about the real problem. And I see that within Arsenal's base as well. It's like, I only want to do things if it's popular. And I've just never been that kind of person, really. I do what I want to do. You know, it's like, you know, I drive my car. If I fancy listening to a bit of Drake, I've got Drake pumping out. If I fancy listening to a bit of Frank Sinatra, then I'm listening to Frank Sinatra. I don't care. Like, my 6-year-old, my 6-year-old, right? He's like, what we'll do is we'll get near traffic lights and people there. I'd wind the windows down. I turn the music up. You know what I mean? It might be a bit of Michael Bublé. He's like, Dad, turn this off. I'm like, nah, son, you got to learn, right? You got to learn. It don't matter. When I was younger, I weren't like that. I love like jazz and standards and stuff like this. I was a kid listening to jazz music on the way to school when everyone else was listening to garage and hip hop. But like, I'd go past people, you know, like back in the day, your earphones were loud. People can hear what you're listening to, right? So I'd walk past people and turn it down. But as I was walking past them, I start like bopping my head like I listen to R&B. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I don't want no one to not know I'm listening to, I don't know, Frank Sinatra and Sam Cooke and Sammy Davis Jr. Like, I don't want them knowing I'm just embarrassing. And then as I got older, I was like, I'm just gonna do me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care. And I'm like, have your own opinions, have your own thoughts. I respect a lot of the big YouTubers out there. Like, although I'm involved in YouTube, I've got such respect for True Geordie, such respect for DT, Robbie, Rants, all these guys in terms of what they do. I respect it. But when it comes to giving an opinion on something that happens, it never once crosses my mind to go, oh, let me go and see what they've said first before I give my opinion. And maybe it's because I'm 35 years old and I just don't think like that anymore. But people have got to learn to have their own thought and their own opinions on things. But equally, when you make a mistake, own it. And I try my best to do that as well. But yeah, it's crazy what's going on in socials now.
That's interesting what you say there, isn't it? Because that's another thing I was going to say. With AFTV, they've kind of done this thing where now, and again, they're not the pioneers of it, yeah, but it's like, you know, once you've said something on camera, stick by that forever. And it don't have to be like that, because at the end of the day, when Arteta did come in, I was thinking, why a rookie? But then you think, all right, well, you know what, he's here. Cool, let's just see how it goes. You know, he wins the FA Cup. He wins the Charity Shield. And you think, all right, let's see how this goes kind of thing, innit? And you start seeing him do weird things and you think, let's just see where it goes, you know. Right now, where I am after seeing Thursday, bruv. I mean, again, like I'm saying, the bigger picture is the Kronkes, right? We have to get them out. But right now, I know we could be performing a lot better than what we are. I don't think our squad is top 4, not at all. Jesus Christ, we are so far off that right now. But again, it's little things like when I say, like, the man them are pulling down their pants in training. You guys, you really have to understand how annoyed and angry I am with that, you know? Like, I was on a gal stream the other day and then Sonny came on and he said something about, training shouldn't be like the military. Okay, fair play. Do you think Man City train like it's the military? Or Tuchel, what do you think Tuchel's doing to these men in training? These men got his regime on his way of playing after one training session. I think it was half a training session. 2 hours, I think he had him in there and he changed that whole team's season. Obviously worked on it going forward, but after that one, I think they had to play Atletico Madrid in their next game and they won. It's like, wait a second, what, you did that after Frank Lampard just told us that this squad is not capable of competing with top teams, and he's done it in one training session. One. That's a mentality.
And that's the thing. It's a mentality thing, and you're right. This kind of like, again, people they're hyperbolic. you don't train footballers like you train soldiers, because soldiers are having bullets shot at them. So you need to toughen up. I've never been a soldier, but you have to toughen up their senses to be able to handle that environment. It's a much harder environment to be a soldier than to be a football player. That is for sure. Because most soldiers would swap tomorrow for 200 grand a week. You know what I mean? Rather than having a bullet shot at them. Do you know what I mean? Like fair play, great job they do. But there is an element where it's got to be regimented. I competed for Great Britain at sport. I was pretty good at what I did, and training, there was a mixture. There were certain lessons and classes, and because it was like martial arts, we call them lessons and classes or training, that were like the elite squad training. It was military based, and there was respect levels. There was hierarchy. There were certain things I could and couldn't say to people with a different colored belt to me. If they were someone when I was a brown belt, I couldn't say certain things to black belts. When I was a black belt, I was a first dan. I couldn't say shit to second, third, fourth. There's a respecting hierarchy. When I'm standing there talking to one of my superiors, it's either on your knees waiting for them to address you, or you bow and then wait for them to address you, or your hands behind your back, like these things. But that regimented nature is what, and how it was dictated to us by our coach is what made us so successful. At the same time, it was knowing when to let people relax, or the right time to show people when to relax. So the thing about the pants, the trousers around their ankles messing around, that's fine if you're doing well, show people that. But you know, when you're struggling, people want to see that you are on point, that you are working hard. Of course, footballers can have a laugh and a joke and have fun and everything else, because you can't survive without that. Like soldiers, they have downtime where they have fun, you know, like they have moments where they laugh. It isn't all just right. You know what I mean? Never, you know, like those guys that stand outside Buckingham Palace with the hats on. I don't even know what they're called. I should.
The Queen's Guard, yeah.
Them man. Like they're not like that 24 hours a day. They're not in bed with their wife like this. You know what I mean? Ireland. They're not. They're tight when they come out of it. But they're a tight. But you need to have that regimented nature, and it's about muscle memory. It's about muscle memory. This is what my coach used to teach us around. Especially in like when we were fighting or when we're doing katas, he used to, like, if we trained half-hearted, he'd go mental. Yeah. And he said, so yeah, what he used to say is, he goes, if you like run through things, your body remembers. Because every time you train, it goes in terms of sparring where you're training for a fight, or in elite sessions here, it needs to be full throttle. You need your body to know what it's like all the time, to be in that stance, in that position, in that moment. You've got to know, and it's got to be done to the highest degree, so that it becomes second nature. It becomes an instinct for you to perform in that way. Where if half the time you're not training at full capacity, it's not instinctual, and it's hard for me to explain because I'm not a great coach. But we were like our school were amazing. Like this guy had this little martial arts club in some small town in Essex, and produced dozens and dozens of world champions. You could become a black belt in a week or never get one. Essentially, it was, if you're good enough, you'll get a black belt. If you're not good enough, we won't just award you. Like, we had this big problem with belt factories where every 3 months you just did a grading and you got the new colored belt. And it's like, well, you're not good enough to be a red belt, so we're not going to give you one. It was elite, but he developed world-class athletes, world-class martial artists, and the majority of people that were there have gone on to be pretty successful in life as well.
You set your mentality right straight from the get-go.
Knock-on effects. And the thing was, and the way we trained was very, we looked at it as quite American. So like, second place didn't exist. Like, you didn't celebrate coming second. You didn't take part. You went in to win, and if you didn't win, you were disappointed. However, there was an element of, as long as you gave your best, you weren't ever in trouble. But if there was I remember a kid once, he finished a thing and shook his, it was like a kata thing, it did it right, and he shook his head at one point because he made a mistake. Our coach took it, he didn't finish his kata. Coach walked on the mats and dragged him off, said, "You're done out here." No one else ever did that. And it was harsh. But it was, the lesson was like, yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm never doing that. I'm going to be on point. I ain't slipping nothing. But yeah, man, it's weak mentality leads to failure. Do you know what I mean? If you what's it like? If you fail to prepare, if you fail to prepare to fail, that type of thing. I think that's going on at these clubs 110%. But there we go. I enjoyed the chat though this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I know everyone in the chat is saying, right, he's not going to let the pants thing go. No, I'm fucking not. I'm irate with it, bruv. Don't do that.
You know, it shocks as well. The funniest thing about that is, I've seen the video, and I've seen there's loads of them. There's loads of videos, where the players are pissing about. But there's one common thing that I don't ever see, and that's Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Saka No, not even just the young players, because I've seen Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah.
No, but that's the thing, though.
But the successful players, Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, they're not doing this. They will. I know that they piss about as much as anybody else, but they don't show it to the cameras because they realise that we're failing right now. If we were top of the league, there'd be loads of videos of Saka and Martinelli having a piss about. But the fact that two of them are 19, one of them's 20. The fact that they can realise more than 31-year-old senior players like Aubameyang and all these lot, that fans will get pissed off about this if you show it to the world.
Did you see Saka's face today?
Yeah, exactly. He was devastated.
He looked angry.
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
And he was still playing well. He wasn't angry and walking around like other players do. He was angry and playing well. It's just that it's different. And you have to also think about the fact that the players that we have that are more senior are not playing for anything else. They're on the highest wages that they'll ever be on. They don't see us as a club that's going to be competing. So what are they really working for? They don't love the club because they're not from the academy. They're not working for anything. So I'm not shocked. Saka and Emile Smith Rowe, they have so much to work towards. So this is affecting their future. So I'm not surprised that they care. And, you know, Tierney does as well because he doesn't piss about. I don't think he likes anything that's going on at that club.
Yeah, definitely.
Better performers are the ones that care. And
Exactly,
it's true, which is also why, though, and when I say they will leave, it's not salt. It's they will. I look at Man United. If we hadn't started this, if we don't improve even beyond this point, I will encourage Greenwood and Rashford to leave because they're too good. Bruno, leave. You're too good. Pogba. Well, I've got no issue with Pogba leaving Man United. We have wasted 4 or 5 years of his career. If we turn the corner now and we do go up a level, then fair play. But these players have I'm a Man United fan till the day that I die, and hopefully that's in a long time. But football players have a 10, 12-year career. That's it. They have to make the right decisions. New Tide's back in again with this is groundbreaking, ladies and gentlemen. He says you don't need a structure to create an identity, right? But then he says straight after that, but then he says you create your own structure. So you do need a structure then. You know what I mean? And New Tide, some people can't create their own structures because they don't know how to do it. Maybe not to begin with, so they have to adopt someone else's. And then over time, you will learn and you adapt and you change. Like you'll need a structure, you know, like making your bed in the morning. Trust me, if you don't make your bed in the morning.
One thing I want to say with this new owner fallout thing, I think you can see it now. It's starting to drop off. You know, I think some of the fan pressure is starting to go off now. You can see with the Arsenal fan base. Not a lot of people decided to turn up, even at other clubs. They ain't at the Chelsea board, they ain't at the City board, they ain't at the Real Madrid board. It hasn't been nothing much. And I mean, the owners have gotten away with it again. So
yeah, and they might look. Listen, I think if some of these big accounts, as we say, get behind this protest, sounds like AFTV are going to do a really good job with this one, and they'll get people there and everything else. I think that'll be good to see, and we'll see what happens. But it's not even about, like I said, it shouldn't be put on the big accounts. Like it's important for them to speak out about it as well as fans, but it's important for other people to step up. And once people know it's going on, they should be there or they shouldn't. Like I didn't go to either of the Man United protests, and I had my reasons for not doing that. One was my son's first birthday. The other is I actually have a job. Like this is my job. This is how I pay my bills. Like I can't afford to not work. Like you know, like last weekend when the social media blackout thing happened, like we decided not to post on socials. I actually regretted it after saying I wouldn't do it because I don't really think those things really work. It was one of those things where I kind of said, yeah, I'll do it. And then I was like, actually, I don't know if it works. So I kind of felt a bit weird about it, but I was like, I've got to post on YouTube. Someone messaged me saying like, you're being a hypocrite if you're still working on YouTube. I'm like, bruv, the Premier League footballers are not playing all weekend. Like that's their job. Like this is my job. I can't not stream. Like it's imagine that. Yeah, so I can't pay the mortgage this month. Why? Protesting. Like it don't work. Like, the banks were closing, bruv. Like I need to do those things. But yeah, man, they've got to do their thing. Listen, someone here says loves pants. There we go.
This guy is always getting on.
Bro, Shucks, you should have just said shorts, man. Just shorts.
I feel like everyone's gonna be on to me about pants now, but I can see it.
On protest, yeah, I ain't going with no suit and tie. I ain't going again, fam.
Yeah, don't do that again.
Don't go in the school uniform.
Bruv, honestly, bruv, you did look like you just left school, bruv. You look like
you looked hot.
Yeah,
like,
warm.
Hot and you just there sweating.
I thought you were gonna go knock on doors saying hi, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Like you like one of them, man. You know what I mean? Like hello. Just does that happen in the States? I know there are Jehovah's Witnesses in the States. They knock on the door over there.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
they do. They do that too here. Yeah. Usually we don't answer, but that's just
You know what? The next time it happens to me, it hasn't happened in many years, I am going to invite them in for a chat. I just want to see what they've got to say. Like, there's always an old joke. There's always an
Don't do
old
it yourself. Don't do it yourself. Don't.
there's always an old joke. There's always this old joke that I heard a comedian say, and I thought it was quite lighthearted. He basically said that a lady and a woman from Jehovah's Witness knocked on the door, and he invited him in. They looked shocked, and I won't do the jokes. I can't tell jokes, but he sits them down in the living room. Says, "Actually, I'm about to make a cup of tea. Would you like one?" They said yes. He drags the joke on. He goes and makes them a cup of tea. Then he comes back. So, would you like the bathroom? They say yes. So they one by one go to the bathroom. Then they come back. He says, "Look, actually, I was in the middle of making some soup and some food. Would you like to eat with me as well?" They said yes. Great. Boom, 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 boom. They sit down. They eat. They drink their tea. They talk. And he goes, "Right. So, what are you here to talk to me about?" And the punchline is, they go, "I have no idea. We've never got this far before." Like everyone shut the door on them, and it made me die with laughter. That's what I'd love to know it. Yeah, just is what it is. But honestly, it's one of those jokes which is a stupid joke, but I like silly jokes, man. That they're interesting. But yeah, bro, you definitely look like you were handing out leaflets or something, bro. So yeah, next time just calm it down a little bit. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Hit that like button, hit that share button. And we'll see you all again. Actually, Midnight Vibes in 2 hour and a half time. KJ's back. So see you all there. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.